Big up, everyone. Welcome back to the Ram Stand. It's something a little bit different this time. More of a not a live stream anymore. It'll be a recording, a match reaction recording, that will be played on YouTube in the next coming days. So big yourself up if you're watching the video. It'll be a usual thing from now on. I will be making a lot more sort of videos on the matches, match reaction on that point. I think it'll be a little bit easier doing that than live streaming. So I'll be trying to do more content on that. There'll be some other content as well on the way, live streams or some gaming streams as well. So we'll get to it. But I appreciate any of you that are watching this as well. Make sure you like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, comment if you have any thoughts on the game that I have, any of the opinions that I have. Just make sure you like the stream and get this out there on the socials as well. So let's get to it. Liverpool 0, Arsenal 0 at the Emirates Stadium. A good performance. You've got to keep it a buck. A very, very good performance from Liverpool. It was a tough test against the best team in England. We've got to keep it a buck. They are top of the league for a reason. And at their home ground, they're very, very notorious for winning a lot of their matches. I think the last time they didn't win was against City back in September, October. So they've got a great record at home. Coming into this game in pretty mediocre form, unbeaten in 8, but drawing 4 of the last 8 games as well. So needing a better performance, most importantly, as well. So a lot of the pre-match analysis and pre-match narratives were Liverpool are going to get smoked at the Emirates. We have no chance. Arsenal are going to pack us in. They're going to show to the world why they are deserved Premier League champions. And we didn't get that today. I think we ourselves were very, very good. Performances from every single player was good to an extent overall. I think there's a couple of standout performances which I'll get into later on in the video, but massive performance. I could not fault any player today on the game plan because let's be honest, we were playing a very, very defensive style of football. And granted, you have to do it against these kind of teams because if you don't, you're just going to get packed in. So I give massive credit to the manager as well. So first off, we'll get into sort of the game itself. First half, Arsenal were on top for the majority of it. I think the first 20 minutes, Saka was running rings around Milos Kerkez. Kerkez was struggling a lot. But after the first 20 minutes where Saka ran through us, Timber was also helping us on the overlap. A lot of crosses into the box where luckily we were on the end of it and not an Arsenal player. It was overall a very, very tough watch in the first 20 minutes. We couldn't get out. We couldn't create any sort of openings. We just had to weather the storm. And once we got a little bit of possession, whilst we controlled the game a little bit, it became a little bit more even from there. I think the chance that Conor Bradley had in the first half really did help us a lot, where I think we dispossessed the ball, runs through the entire Arsenal back line, and I think Saliba tackles him, passes it back to Raya. Raya miskicks it, and Conor Bradley hits the bar as a result. And it sort of put a little bit of nerves back into Arsenal, being like, look, we are under the ropes at this moment, but we are still a very good team and we can hurt you. And that's what we needed in that first half, because I think we showed a bit too much respect to Arsenal. I think we were defending very well, but not having any outlet at all. But once we got that little bit of momentum, we started to realize, let's get Frimpong on the ball. Let's get him running in behind that defense. Let's get him up against Hincapié, who we know is probably the weakest out of all of Arsenal defenders. Get him 1v1 against Hincapié, and we'll see what happens. And you saw what happened. Frimpong was running rings around Hincapié the entire game. Was running rings around him, struggling. Hincapié was struggling. A bit fortuitous with a couple of calls, maybe a little penalty there. Personally, for me, I don't think so, but it showed today why Frimpong, who's been arguably our best player in the last couple of games, how important he was today and how good he was today. Second half that comes along, we dominated. We dominated from start to finish, I think, in my opinion. Arsenal couldn't get a shot on target the entire game. We had a couple of decent opportunities. I know Frimpong again being a nuisance, even when Hincapié had to feign an injury to come off the pitch and bring on Skelly. He was causing a lot of problems for Skelly as well. The one thing that was lacking in this game was an end product. And can you really blame some of these players? Because every single opportunity we had where we had a creative outlet or creative chance, no one was in the box. And you can't fault them because we didn't have Ekatike available, who's unfortunately injured. Isak is injured as well. What this game was crying out for was a striker. And unfortunately, we didn't have a striker available for Liverpool. And that's how we had to deal with it. We had to deal with it. And I think we dealt with it very well. I think the weakest player in the team was probably Gakpo. I think a couple of the chances that we had, if he made better movements, better runs off the ball, he would have been in a better opportunity for us to score a goal. But by we knew what the game plan was, and we executed it to a T. We stopped Arsenal from creating any chances. We prevented them from having a lot of the ball, and we also silenced the crowd, and we did it tremendously well. The majority of the time, Arsenal fans were going at each other, being like, "We need to make a raucous atmosphere. We need to make Emirates a fortress." And to be fair to the players, and most importantly, to be fair to the likes of Gravenberch and McAllister, who controlled that midfield from start to finish, we silenced that crowd. We silenced the Emirates crowd, and that was another reason why we were so dominant today. Emirates weren't rocking. Emirates went up for it, and everyone to a T. And I've been very critical of the manager, been very critical of the players, but everyone on that pitch deserves credit today. From Allison to Wirtz to Gakpo to McAllister to Grav to Soboslai to Konate, Van Dijk. It's even though I'm not too keen on Gakpo, he still played his part, man. He still played his part. So fair play to everyone. Fair play to Arne Slot. On the overall scheme of things, we still sit fourth in the Premier League. I do believe 8 points behind Aston Villa, and still 14 points off of Arsenal, which we all know the league title's done for the season. But again, performances like that is what we needed against the big teams, but that weren't the real question. The real question is how are these performances are going to be against the likes of Fulham, the likes of Leeds, the likes of Sunderland, the likes of Brentford, because it's all well and good doing these performances against a top team where we expect a team like Arsenal at home to be dominating the ball and trying to go for a win. But a team like Sunderland don't have that pressure on them. A team like Fulham don't have that pressure on them. So I'll give credit to the manager for this performance today, but it doesn't answer a lot of questions I have, because our performances against the big teams was not an issue. It was mainly the performances against your Leeds, your Sunderland, to an extent, your Wolves as well. Those were the kind of performances where we're like, we need to see more, because we don't need to control the game against Fulham at Craven Cottage. We just need to win. We just need to go out there and dominate the game from start to finish, and that's what we've been doing. That's not what we've been doing in the last couple of games. We have to be playing a lot quicker, a lot better football against these teams. But I'll analyze those games when we get to it. Today we're talking about Arsenal, and a lot of my criticisms of Arsenal are still proven right. I'm not too keen on their team in general. I don't really rate a lot of their players. I think their two defenders are great. I think Raya is a very good goalkeeper. Well, say two of their defenders. I'll say their back line is quite good. Timber, Saliba, Gabriel are very, very good players. Raya is a very good goalkeeper. I'm not a fan of Hincapié, but he's a very good backup centre back or left back. I think Calafiori, he was a big miss for them, in my opinion. But their attack, man, Gyökeres, still some of the questions I have for him, his movement off the ball, his ability in general is just absolutely poor. And I've always maintained the level of the league has stayed the same for me, because you always had your Wolverhampton Wanderers when they had Ruben Neves back in the day, who were a solid team. Watford were a solid team back then. Even Sheffield United were a very good team back then. So for me, the floor of the Premier League has still stayed the same, but the level from the top has dropped significantly. Mainly because you don't have one of the things that the Man City have that they kept is a generational manager, Pep Guardiola. However, the squad building is just not of the level what it used to be. Like we used to have the best squad, or arguably the best squad with Man City. Like the squad building levels were up another level with us. The reason why we could dominate a lot of these games because of how good our teams were. And I just don't get that with Arsenal. And there's no sly on Arsenal. It's absolutely no sly on Arsenal. It's just that the level that we were so used to a few seasons ago is just not there anymore. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We go into the next game, I do believe, is against Barnsley in the FA Cup. Looking forward to it. Obviously, I have a little vested interest in Barnsley for a certain footballer that's going to be playing at Anfield. I'll get to it on the pre-match preview. That will be it, people. I know it's a short video recording. It's just going to be a test to see how these videos do. And I'll be doing these continuously as a match reaction as well. So please do leave your comments in the comment section below. Like the video if you haven't. And I'll catch you on the pre-match preview for Liverpool as well. Peace.